Okay, Mayor, the meeting is yours. Do you want to welcome everyone?
All right. Thank you, Susan. And yes, we certainly want to welcome everyone to the Benton Town Council meeting for this Tuesday, November 17th. Susan, if you would call the roll, please.
Okay. Councilmember Lyles,
Here.
Councilmember Mullins,
Here.
Councilmember Stovall,
Here.
Vice Mayor McCarty,
Here.
Mayor Gross.
Here.
We do have a quorum of council. Town staff that are present: Pete Peters, Susan Johnson, Ann Cantrell, Chief Drummond, Donna Collins, Anita McMillan, Chastity Barber, Ann Cantrell, Chief Drummond, Nathan McClung. Donna Collins, Anita McMillan. Also present, Jeremy Carroll, our town attorney, Debbie Adams with the Benton Messenger, Ernie DeLaverson with Rosie's. I would also like to confirm that our meeting is being held in accordance with Town Ordinance number 1016 and Section 4-0.01G of Chapter 1289 of the 2020 Acts of the Virginia General Assembly, and everyone present is participating by electronic means. Mayor, the meeting is yours.
Okay, Susan, thank you. I guess I should mention on my screen, all I have is the banner that says Benton Town Council meeting. Do you guys have the video?
No, that's right. That's all you need right now.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, we will start our meeting as usual with a moment of silence and also the Pledge of Allegiance. As always, during this moment of silence, I would ask you to keep this country, this community, and this council meeting in your thoughts and prayers. And just a very special thought and prayer for all those who are confronting the COVID-19 situation. So we'll ask, as usual, our Council Member Lyles to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and if you folks would stand for both of those, and Keith, I'll close the moment of silence in just a minute, okay?
Okay.
Please stand. Father, I just want to thank you for this day and for this opportunity to meet together, and just pray that you be with our country, our community, and certainly the meeting here tonight, and just protect us all during this unusual and especially difficult time. In his name we pray. Keith?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that, Susan. I didn't know if we were going to have video or not, which in some cases might be good. So, all right. As I say, certainly want to welcome everyone to the meeting tonight, and we will start with our community events and announcement. Vice Mayor McCarty, do you have anything this evening?
We have several. December the 3rd is the Benton Christmas Parade, 6:30 tree lighting and 7 p.m. parade. On December the 5th at the History Museum, they're going to have an open house from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. December the 17th is the Chamber open house from 5 to 7 at the Community Center. Also we got an email that the History Museum will be closed the week of Thanksgiving. And we're very excited to have these events, but as everything in our life in 2020, this is subject to change at any time, and we will keep you posted. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much. The next item on our agenda is request to postpone or change the order of the agenda. Are there any requests this evening? If not, we will move on to the consent agenda, which tonight has a couple items. The minutes for the regular council meeting of October 20th, as well as the minutes for the regular council meeting of November 3rd. Are there any changes or additions to the consent agenda? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right. We'll move on to the awards and presentations for this evening. And it's good to see that the Safety Committee continues to be recognized. So Donna, I understand you have some information?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Mayor, Vice Member, members of council. This year, Virginia Municipal League did a first annual award due to the circumstances of COVID and the strange chain of events that has happened in 2020. And subsequently, we were nominated and the town received the award, the local champion award. And the recipients of that award was given to those who rose to meet the myriad of challenges posed by the coronavirus pandemic with compassion, determination, and creativity in such a manner as to provide relief, resiliency, and inspiration to the community. I will have to say this might have been spearheaded by the Safety Committee, but this is only possible because of all the due diligence of all the employees in the town and their open communication, their questions, their diligence in being proactive in preventing this. And this is definitely a team event, and we are very grateful to be recognized as the Safety Committee, but this is a town in general award. It's not just localized to us, to those members of the committee.
All right. Thank you, Donna. Well, we certainly want to congratulate the committee. I know they've worked hard, but I appreciate you mentioning that it takes everyone in town. And I think we've got a great team. Our staff is really working well as a team. And that's something that deserves to be recognized. That's for sure.
Yes, it does.
Thank you, Donna, for that information.
Thank you.
All right, next item is comments and petitions. Susan, have you received anything in the office as far as comments or petitions?
No, Mayor, no comments or requests.
Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate that. And with that, we'll move on to the public hearing. Tonight we have two public hearings. The first will concern the proposed granting of a real property purchase option and property release to Farmyard LLC. And as usual, I will open the meeting and we'll ask for the staff report. And I think Pete's going to do that. Afterwards, we'll receive comments if there are any, and then council discussion. So I will officially open the public hearing. And Pete, if you would, please, sir.
Thank you, Mayor Gross, Vice Mayor McCarty, and members of council. As previously briefed with town council and discussed with the Economic Development Committee, the town has been approached by Farmyard LLC, or better known as GESA, to purchase. They approached us about purchasing the vacant lot that sits between the municipal building and their Farmer GESA location, which sits at 303 South Pollard. Property in question is addressed as 307 South Pollard. So the intent of the purchase option is to secure the property for the owners of the building and Farmer GESA restaurant as they do the property improvements to construct a building expansion as well as a semi-enclosed outdoor patio. And then once they reach their investment goals, we're estimating their investment to be approximately $80,000 in improvements to the site. And once they reach that investment goal, they can then petition the town to purchase the property. In the meantime, it will be contracted with the town in the form of a lease agreement. It is in a single year lease to start, and we do have the opportunity for 4 additional years of extension, but that is not anticipated to be necessary. The rent will be for the first year $250, which is equivalent to the current real estate tax payments that we receive, actually the town and what the county receives. And then there are contingencies within the purchase option for maintenance and liability insurance and such on the property while they're both constructing and then when they operate. Once they take action on the purchase option, then we will bring a purchase agreement back to council at a future date for you to take action on that sale contract down the road. And unless you have any other questions, we have seen the renderings on that site before. I'd be happy to pull those up if anybody would like to take another look at them. But otherwise, unless you have any questions, staff would respectfully request council to authorize the resolution when the time comes. Thank you.
Okay, Pete, thank you very much. Susan, have you received any comments concerning this item?
No, Mayor, no comments.
Okay, thank you. Council, any comments, any discussions or questions? All right. Hearing none, we will officially close the public hearing. Council, you have before you a resolution that would, in fact, approve the property purchase option and lease to Farmyard LLC. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, I believe the motion was by Councilmember Lyles and the second by Councilmember Mullins. Susan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lyles,
Yes.
Councilmember Mullins,
Yes.
Councilmember Stovall,
Yes.
Vice Mayor McCarty,
Yes.
Mayor Gross.
Yes. All right, the resolution passes. So I guess we're ready for our second public hearing this evening, which concerns a proposed grant of a lease to DW Restaurant. This is concerning a town property located at 110 East Lee Avenue. So I will officially open the public hearing and ask for the staff report. Pete, I think you're going to do that one too. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, Mayor. Thank you. Very similarly to the one we just discussed with Farmyard, DW Restaurant is better known as Dogwood Restaurant. They are located at 106 East Lee Avenue and, 110. And they have petitioned the town to lease a portion of the vacant lot that sits between their current location and Cindy's Fashions on Lee Avenue. We have, if you've seen that recently, we have established a pedestrian access on that lot that will take up about 2/3 of that lot that connects Lee to the rear parking lot behind Vineyard Station. So the Dogwood is requesting to lease just 1/3 of that lot, that they will construct an outdoor patio to accommodate some exterior seating for good weather. So unlike the other item, this was only a lease, and this will be for an initial 1-year term, and we'll have up to 4 additional 1-year terms, so a total of 5 potential for this lease. We also have set a rent for $250 per year, and this is also based on the real estate tax collections for that property. We do anticipate a considerable amount of new revenues being generated as a result of the town leasing this space to the Dogwood Restaurant. Their total investment is expected to exceed $20,000 of improvement to this portion of the lot to develop the retaining wall necessary to create the elevation required, as well as the brick paver portions and the other improvements to the site to make it an attractive and fit into the current aesthetics that we have set for that site. So unless you have any other questions, I do have a rendering available if you'd like to see that once again. But we have briefed council previously, as well as the Economic Development Committee. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Pete, thank you for that presentation. Susan, have you received any comments concerning this item?
No, Mayor, no comments received.
Okay. Council, you have any questions for Pete, or is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, I will officially close the public hearing. And we have before us a resolution that would need a motion to approve the lease to DW Restaurant as we've heard described this evening.
Also move it, Mr. Mayor.
All right.
I'll second.
Okay, I heard the motion by Councilmember Stoneball. I didn't catch who that was that seconded.
Sabrina.
Sabrina, Vice Mayor,
Mhm.
made the second. So Susan, if you would call roll, please.
Councilmember Lyles,
Yes.
Councilmember Mullins,
Yes.
Councilmember Stovall,
Yes.
Vice Mayor McCarty,
Yes.
Mayor Gross.
Yes, resolution passes. Thank you, council. I don't see anything listed for Jeremy, which is always good. And as always, he has a great tie on, so always good to see your tie. Some things never change, right, Jeremy?
Thank you, sir. No, I try to class up the place a little bit.
Attaboy. Attaboy.
We need all the help. Need all the help we can get. Always good to see you, Jeremy. And with that, we'll turn it over to the town manager. Mr. Peters, it's all yours, sir.
Thank you once again, Mayor Gross. This evening, the first item, we have a briefing for special use permits for the property located adjacent to New York Pizza. And I will save the details for our principal planner, Mr. Nathan McClung.
Thanks, Pete. Good evening, Mayor, members of council. So as Pete just said, we have a special use permit request for a commercial indoor amusement use. Specifically in this case, there'll be an arcade for the New York Pizza restaurant. Specifically, the site address is at 700 Hardy Road. That's the vacant building to the left if you're standing on Hardy Road facing the building. It's currently vacant, but the previous use was a dry cleaning establishment. And they're proposing an arcade use in conjunction with an ice cream and coffee shop with the drive-through as well. Just a background with a brief history of that building. In 2016, a site plan was approved for it to have a drive-through with the ice cream and coffee shop accommodations with seating inside. But since then, and also building plans were also approved in 2017. The project was never completed, but since then, we've been approached by Mr. Giacomo Montori. He's the authorized agent of the property owner and New York Pizza Restaurant to propose this arcade idea. With discussions with him, they are intended to be a family-friendly arcade under the umbrella of the New York Pizza Restaurant. So it's not intended to be a standalone business. It's more about an extension of the existing restaurant where individuals could use the arcade facility in addition to the proposed ice cream and coffee shop as well. And it could be accessed from the patio area between the two buildings. The reason why this has to be before a special use permit is because we, in our zoning ordinance does require arcade uses to go through the special use process. And the staff report, it mentions the definition of what a commercial indoor amusement use is. Special note to keep into consideration, because I'm in a few moments here, I'm going to show an example of what square footage of the existing space is intending to be used for the arcade use. But with the intention to move forward, even though they have an approved site plan and approved building permit, it will have to go through a change of use permit per the Roanoke County Building Commissioner to accommodate for that arcade use. But overall, this is located in our general business district, which is tailored to accommodate for retail and service businesses. And also with it being on the Hardy Road corridor, it is cohesive with the existing uses surrounding it. And also it is consistent with the general characteristics of the corridor and the intent of the general business district. Site access can be accessed through the existing commercial entrances, and it's currently served by public water and sewer. I'm going to share my screen here and show the building plans that were approved in 2017. As you can see, what they originally were intending were for the coffee use with the drive-through and ice cream solely. And they still want to have an ice cream coffee shop use with the drive-through. But in terms of the arcade area, meetings with the property owner and Mr. Montori, it seems like this area, which was previously slated to be for the dining area or seating area, this is around where the arcade machines will sit, and also tables for seating as well for patrons to eat. But it's a pretty unique idea with the arcade. The idea would be for it to kind of run, similar to Dave and Buster's, where it would be card or token based. But instead of having like a staff personnel there to give them the kids gifts or any individual the prizes, they actually have large vending machines now that they can house all the toys within, and you can just swipe your card and select the toy and it grabs it for you. So it is streamlined, and it's a pretty interesting idea. And besides that, the final thing I wanted to cover is that the building itself is about 3,200 square feet. But when you're accommodating this specifically for the arcade use, you're looking at between 1,200 and 1,700 square feet of usage for this building to accommodate for the arcade use. Any of your questions, that is all I have for tonight.
Okay, thank you, Nathan. Appreciate that presentation. Council, you have any, oh, I'm sorry, Pete, it's all yours.
No, let's see, we have the next action item, which is, that's me. That's a resolution approving a new residency policy. Sorry, I got off track of there a little bit. Let me, so in 2016, I gotta turn the page here, apologize.
Well, Pete, while you're doing it, I would like to say one thing about the previous item we had, the presentation. I assume that will be coming back to council for approval sometime in December.
They
Yes,
will
sir.
actually,
Oh, sorry, Pete.
no, go ahead, Nathan.
So this Thursday, the Plan Commission will be having a work session and a public hearing, and then December 1st, council will be having a public hearing as well. And Mr. Giacomo Montori, representing the property owner in the restaurant, he intends on attending both of those meetings.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, Mayor, I think I've called up. Apologize for that slight delay. In 2016, council adopted a residency policy for the town manager, the town treasurer, the chief of police, and the fire chief, that those appointed positions would reside within the town's utility service area or the town's incorporated boundaries, and that they would be required to do so within a 12-month period of being hired in that position. More recently, council had some discussions regarding some upcoming appointments, and the council wanted some more flexibility to be able to provide some special occurrences or special needs for those appointments and where they reside. So council has directed staff to modify the policy to, one, remove the fire chief, being that position is no longer employed by the town of Benton. And also update the residency requirement for the town manager, the town treasurer, and the chief of police. And the residency requirement now will be left to town council's discretion and as defined by each appointment's employment agreement. So I'll be happy to answer any questions. You have a resolution before you this evening that outlines where the policy was previously and what the new ordinance would allow the discretion for individual appointments by town council on an individual basis.
Okay, thank you, Pete. Council, you heard the presentation. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, we will entertain a motion for approval.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, I believe that was the vice mayor that made the motion. And did the second come from you, Lori?
I think Keith beat me to it.
Oh, okay, Keith, all right. The
We got a
second.
second and
All right, Susan, if you would call a roll, please.
Councilmember Lyles,
yes.
Councilmember Mullins,
Yes.
Councilmember Stovall,
Yes.
Vice Mayor McCarty,
Yes.
Mayor Gross.
Yes. Okay. Pete, back to you.
Okay, well, this evening, it's my pleasure to introduce Ernie DeLaverson, who is the general manager of Rosie's Gaming Emporium here in Benton. And Rosie's, we've been working with Rosie's over the last several months on a potential new project for them. And Ernie graciously offered to attend tonight to provide council with an update on that expansion plan. I do have some renderings to show. So at Ernie's cue, I'll pull those up. But without further ado, Mr. DeLaverson, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council, it's great to see you. It's been a while, but glad to see your smiling faces. And I have something I would like to show you that we're very proud of, and I could briefly walk you through some of the topography and layouts of our expansion at Rosie's. Obviously, our opening slide. There's the big picture of it. For those who are familiar with the property, the green gable roof is the existing structure, and the adjacent or perpendicular structure with the flat roof is the expansion. A lot of our guest contact in meeting the needs of our local residents. We have incorporated a large open walkway to the front doors. A little drop-off lane for everyone, some ADA parking up front as well. And next slide, please. And a 276 spot parking garage to the right of it. Those are the elevator banks in the middle there. You got to have an entrance and exit component there. That's Vineyard Road where the cars are driving at. So this would be like the perspective from Lancer Lot looking at the property. Next slide, please. One of the biggest attributes that we have is our entertainment component now. Before we had a little center bar there with about 18 to 20 bar stools, which was nice and comforting. This probably goes into about 30 bar stools, and then we have a real live stage for musicians there. It could hold about 6 pieces or musicians up there. It has a green room, an AV room, a load in and load out area. So it's the real deal there. And there's some pictures of the gaming area here from an aerial view, if you will, to get your perspective there. In the lower right, where that little square is, a rectangle, that was the old bar. And then the expansion is like the northwest section there. That's approximately about 18,000 square foot expansion. You can see the circular bar at the bottom of that expansion. Obviously, we're going to expand the bathroom facilities, back of house, all the mechanicals, everything that is needed to support a facility of this size. Next slide. This gives you a couple, maybe a little bit of higher elevation. That back parking lot is in the rear of the building there. That's going to be for guest and employee parking. The light gray shaded area is the existing, and then the 2 dark shaded areas is the expansion, and then the parking garage thereafter. And then I think we have a couple more slides. This is a different rendering from Vineyard Road side, looking on top of the parking garage. You could call it 3 or 4 floors, but it's 3.5 floors of parking. So you have 1, 2, 3, and then that half ramp up over the top there. And I believe there's one other slide from a different perspective. This brings our entire gaming machine count from 150, where we currently have, to 500 gaming machines. And I believe that's it, Mr. Peters. I'm very proud of it. I'm happy.
Sharon, council, do you have any questions for Mr. Delaverson?
I'd just like to say, I think it's very impressive. That's great news, and I'm anxious to see you guys get started. That's just truly impressive.
Thank you, Mayor. We're hoping to get a shovel in the ground in January
Oh,
and have this thing wrapped up by December of 2021. So we
Wow.
will be moving.
awesome.
It is my understanding that the existing facility will not shut down during construction.
That is correct, Pete. We will continue throughout the whole process. We secured some temporary offices over at Lancer Lot with Joe. So we'll still have a little view of the property there and all the construction layout, and like the GE construction trailers will be in the back in the side parking lot.
And is there an anticipated investment? You don't have to give me specific numbers, but an anticipated investment as well as a total number of new hires?
We're still forecasting some of those numbers because we have a lot of modifications. We have, obviously, this is into the millions, but then there's a lot of, it's called FF&E budget. We're trying to finalize those numbers. I currently stand at about 70 to 75 employees during this COVID process, but God willing, everything goes well. I could see a significant increase in employees once we come out of this, Pete.
Thank you, sir. Council, you have any other questions?
I'll just echo the mayor's comments. Yeah, very impressive. For the short time that Rosie's has been here and during this pandemic, for them to almost, double their size is amazing. And yeah, very impressive and can't wait.
I can't wait to book our first band. It'll be exciting.
And let me say from Councilmember Lyles, Ernie, thank you. And to, naturally, I mean, all the beginning conversations, but, y'all have come into the town of Benton and you've worked hard, but thank you very much for the fact of bringing all the people to the town that you've done and doing what you're doing. I mean, you look at that scenario right there to the fact of the parking garage. I mean, you're just, you're knocking it out of the park, and we're glad to, I am, and I know council is and the town is glad to be partners with you. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate it.
All right.
And good to see you, Ernie.
Good to see you too.
Yeah.
Yeah, always good to see you. Thank you very
Always
much.
good to see you.
Very exciting news.
Thank you, Ernie.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that concludes the town manager's portion of the agenda. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir, very much. And with that, we will move on to the reports from the council committees. And of course, tonight, the Finance Committee report. And good to see you. I hope everything is safe at your house.
Yeah, we're all doing well. Thank you for your comments. And good evening, Mayor and members of council. So I do have a report here. I'm going to pull it up on the screen. Okay, so we had a busy meeting in November. We had the auditor's report. So Brown Edwards came and did a presentation for us. We also had the September 2020 financial statements, and we had quite a few budget resolutions that we reviewed. And then we also talked about some positions in the budget calendar. And so getting right into the details here, for September 2020, things are still looking really well for the town of Vinton. In the general fund, revenues were at 111% of budget expectations, meaning that everything's coming in a lot higher than we had expected. Our expenditures are at 88% of budget expectations, so it means they're lower than expected. The grant fund was at 2% of revenue and 6% of expenditures. We had a lot of rollovers, and we were finally able to post those budget entries for September. So you'll see that now the budget is finally hit. In the utility fund, revenues were at 114% of our budget expectation. Expenditures were at 77%. The capital fund revenues, this is a transfer. We're at 100% of our budget, and then expenditures at 0. This is because in the capital fund, we are just setting aside money for Mountain View Road. And then stormwater fund, we have revenues at 100% and expenditures at 87% of budget. And if we go over here and take a look at cash, general fund cash was at 2 million. The grant fund was waiting to get reimbursed for about 321,000. The utility fund was 1.5 million. The capital fund was at 441,000. Stormwater fund is at 70,000. So total cash across all the funds is at 3.8 million. 508,000 of that is restricted. The police evidence fund was 23,000. And then if we go over to our investments, we had 2.2 million invested in the general fund and then 979,000 in the utility fund. Total investments of 3.2 million. So cash and investments combined is 7 million, and it's truthfully the highest I've seen since I've been treasurer in September. So really, really great numbers. So as we're getting into some of the other items here that we talked about at the meeting, the auditors did their preliminary report or final report of the CAFR. They went over the different figures and they went over any comments that they had. They will be coming back to council to do the full presentation on December 15th. The 599 funds are coming in higher than we had budgeted. So we reached out to the police department and they would like to use those to upgrade weapons storage. We are limited. We have to use 599 funds for our police department. And so we're glad they found a great use for those funds. Insurance proceeds, we had a damaged Ford pickup truck. We filed the insurance, we got the revenue back, and so we will have a budget resolution to just move money from the revenue to the expense on the next meeting. The DUI task force grant, this is for the next year's grant. One of the things we talked about at the meeting is that the federal fiscal year is different than the town's fiscal year. We go from June 30th is the end of our fiscal year, so July 1 to June. They actually do September 30th as their fiscal year end, so they do October to September. And so we had a new fiscal year for these grants, so we're appropriating the money for starting October 1st. Same thing for DMV as DUI. They had a new fiscal year grant for this program. Same thing for the Bulletproof Vest grant. And then for the Vinton Police Department, they had several office furniture upgrades that they wanted to do complementary to some of the upgrades they're doing with the CARES Act, but they weren't covered under the CARES Act. So they're asking to use their asset forfeiture money on this. And that money is something that's set aside. If you saw a restricted cash balance above of about 508,000, a little over 300,000 of that is now the asset forfeiture account. So the police department is able to spend this based on qualifying items that they can determine. And then lastly, we talked about the frozen position discussion. And this is something that I know we've talked to some of you about. If we haven't talked to you, we do have a meeting on the books and we plan to bring that back to you as an action item in December. And one of the last things we did go over was a fiscal year 22 budget calendar. It's pretty hard to believe that we're already here again. I feel like we just got through 21, but we went ahead and started our plan. So we go through from distributing the CIP request forms, then we give out our budget spreadsheets to the departments, we mail letters to our community organizations, various steps of review here. So normally we have like an internal team that reviews the budget, and then we have a review with the finance committee. We do want to do kind of a high-level budget discussion with you, make sure that you know where our revenues are projected to come in before we advertise the tax rates. That's April 6th. And then we would have a finance committee budget work session where we get into more of the details in April. Hopefully we'll have our finance committee review in May. We'll distribute the proposed budget document. We'll hold a work session, and then we'll do the public hearing, and then we'll have maybe a last minute finance committee review, and then finally the adoption. So June 15th of 2021. And if there's no questions on the finance committee report, I would ask for you to consider a motion to approve the September 2020 financial report. Thank you.
Okay, Ann.
Mr. Mayor, I'll also move that report with, after we get a second with some comments.
All right. So we have a motion by Councilmember Stovall. Is there a second?
I'll second. Oh.
Maybe this time it was you, Lori. We'll go with that. Do we do a roll call on this one, Susan?
Voice vote's fine.
All right, all in favor of accepting the Finance Committee report as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, and you say you have some comments, Mike?
I do. Thank you, Brad. First off, let me thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council for allowing me to serve on the Finance Committee. We started that meeting the other day with Brown Edwards doing the audit, and Brown Edwards stepping up to the plate and saying and recognizing our finance department. And you look at it, I guess, I do. With you look at age and those kind of things, but you look at the fact of what our finance department brings to the table and the fact of where we were back before the pandemic. And then the biggest thing that I contribute and give to Ann and her staff is the fact of planning and understanding how we get through the pandemic and how we get through revenues. And then, of course, we see all that. And then it brings us to the fact of, we didn't lay anybody off. Naturally, we froze some positions that we know that. And, but then when you listen to Brown Edwards talk about here, that fact that when you connect all the dots and the numbers to the fact of the money, congratulations. I can't say enough about how hard you work for the town. You talk about the water rates or the water payments, and then going to monthly and then bi-monthly, and then we changed that, and then the fact of you looking at how you can bring more revenue into the town. So my point is, congratulations. You've done an excellent job, and you are truly an asset, and your team is to the town.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you for those comments, Mike. You're exactly right. As a member of the Finance Committee, along with you and Ann and Pete, it's a great committee to serve on, number one, and it becomes very obvious how hard our folks work. And as blessed as we are with as many resources we have and such a great staff, if the management isn't there, then it falls on its face. So Mike, you're right on target there. And thank you, sir, for those comments. Thank you, Ann, for the great job. Okay, with that, we will move on to our appointment for boards and commissions. And tonight, I'm sure you folks saw in the packet, we need to appoint Pete Peters to fill an unexpired term for the Roanoke Valley Resource Authority. Is there a motion? First of all, any comments? Nope. Hearing no comments, we will entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Okay, I think I heard, I believe that was Keith that I heard make the motion, and Mike made the second. Susan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lyles,
Yes.
Councilmember Mullins,
Yes.
Councilmember Stovall,
Yes.
Vice Mayor McCarty,
Yes.
Mayor Gross.
Yes. Congratulations, Pete, another job. Yeah. Under the mayor section tonight, just a couple of brief comments. First of all, I want to once again thank all of our staff for the continued hard work. They do a great job, and you can tell that by driving through town, as a matter of fact, by everything that is getting done under these difficult circumstances. But one thing I wanted to point out is One of the things that's really helping us a lot is our staff has remained flexible. They seem to be able to pivot on moment's notice because, as Sabrina mentioned earlier, things change quickly, and sometimes our plans don't always work out like we would like for them to, and it's an unusual time, and planning is important, but more important is the execution of the plans or the situation that you're in. And so I'd just like to congratulate our staff and express my appreciation for them being so flexible. I also want to welcome a new business to town. I had an opportunity to go to the ribbon cutting for KB Mercantile. If you folks haven't had a chance to go by there, you want to go by and check out their store. It's really nice. And we certainly look forward to working with those folks. And we want to congratulate the family dentistry practice on their grand reopening after a very extensive remodel. And we certainly wish them continued success here in Vinton. And their place looks great, by the way. And then finally, just a quick shout out to our Vinton Area Chamber of Commerce. I mentioned earlier that I think we're working well as a team, and certainly the chamber is part of that team. And they too have to be flexible, and they're doing a good job at that. So we appreciate their hard work and bringing activities to town for our citizens and doing it in a manner that is safe and legal and legitimate according to the regulations of the Commonwealth of Virginia. So we appreciate their hard work. So just kudos to their President Justin Davison and Executive Director Angie Tuning and their Executive Assistant Catherine Sowers. We appreciate their hard work, and of course Chastity works close with them as well as Pete, and that's a powerful team, and they do a lot of good for our citizens here in town. So with that, we will turn it over to comments from council. Last time we started with Mike, so Sabrina, it's back to your turn. Vice Mayor, you have anything further this evening?
I just wanted to thank Pete for continuing to update us. We get an awful lot of updates, which is awesome to hear about all of the things that are going on in our town. And I want to thank Debbie for always including us in her articles and in a positive manner, and always, during this time, thinking of unique ways to have articles in there that add a personal touch. And I am very excited about the Rosie's expansion that is going on. That will be awesome. Chris and I have gone over to Rosie's several times just in the last couple of weeks. So their burgers are awesome. Now that I have my 50th birthday, I get to go over and get the $5 burger. So that's good. I highly recommend that. And, the arcade, everything that's going on is just, this has been an awesome meeting. I mean, It's just been a good night. So, it's 2020, but it hadn't stopped you guys. So thanks for everything you do.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. Keith, you have anything further this evening?
Not a whole lot, Mayor, other than I echo what Sabrina said and what you said. And I just want to say from now on, I've been watching, the screen on this, and I've been watching from here on out. I think I'm going to go hang out with Chastity during the meetings, because she's having fun, by herself. She's just sitting there laughing and having a good on the screen. And it's like,
Well, she's probably laughing at us.
Yeah,
Lord mercy.
Right. Oh man, I'm not sure I want to know what she's laughing at. But anyhow, thank you, Keith. We appreciate that. Lauren, you have anything further for the meeting this evening?
I agree with everything everyone said so far. I'm really, really excited about New York Pizza because I've had several people over the years, even before I was on council, be like, well, are they ever going to do anything? And
Right.
I'm tickled to death. I can't wait to see it. that'll be great. And yeah, Chastity, I like your cabinets. I have been noticing that the whole time too. So. Oh, and Mike is very festive. I'm liking the lights.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mike's celebrating already.
Actually, if I could like turn it just a little bit, can I move a little bit? Can you see
Yeah.
the snowmen?
Oh
Can you
yeah,
see it?
look at you.
Oh, yeah.
But let me tell you what we do. And I have to take my hat off to Patsy. She leaves the snowmen up year round. And it's kind of like, you come in the middle of June or July. And actually, we left our Christmas tree up last year and she decorated it for the different seasons. But yeah, so this is one of the areas. So anyway, I was coming here to sit down tonight. So anyway, but thank you. I didn't mean to steer your thunder to end.
Oh, no, you didn't. I'm done. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Anything further, Lori?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Well, Mike, it's your turn then.
Thank you. Well,
Okay,
first off, Brad, I just want to say to you and, the rest of the council members and everybody with the town of Benton, the staff, we paused for a moment today. I was on a Zoom meeting and honestly, it was boring. And so I started looking at some things and, they talked about the fact that the COVID may be doing a second round, maybe stronger than it was the first time around. But my big thing is that the fact of the leadership and where the town, what we've done with the town to bring us through this, bring us through the first round and then through the second round. And, the citizens of Benton, really pause for a moment. We would love for a bunch of people to look at this, but my hat's off to naturally to you, Brad, for what you do, my fellow council members, but most of all the staff of the town of Benton, because we offer, in my opinion, to the citizens of this town a great opportunity, great service. We pinch the pennies, as I say to Ann, the bean counter, we count the beans and people know that we spend our money well and spend their money well, because we're not spending our money, but we're spending their money. Lori called me today. I mentioned something at the last council meeting about what we're going to do for the Christmas parade. She keeps talking about the elf costumes. So I guess we've got to figure out, what we're going to do with those. But anyway, have the opportunity to do something for the Christmas parade. And then, of course, naturally look forward to the season. Naturally, as we know, it's not Christmas; it's of course the birth of Jesus Christ. But anyway, it's we've come through this, and Mr. Peters, I tip my hat to you, your staff, and you, and then council for your support. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well, thank you, Mike, and that was very well said, and I think we all agree. We got a powerful professional staff, and I certainly appreciate them. They handle things well, and please ask Patsy to not tell my wife about leaving the tree up. Man, we got enough Christmas decorations all year.
But it's kind of interesting. Not to go there again, but it's like then she does the Easter and the 4th of July, but the biggest thing that I love about it is that it's, of course, ours is artificial and it's 10 foot, and I don't have to bring that bad boy in and out every year from the garage. I just leave it setting up, I can just, and I'll help her decorate it. So anyway, it's, yeah.
I hear you. My one quick thing, folks, and I'll let you go. Mike, actually, I have some experience with that. My roommate and I, when I was single, put up a Christmas tree one year, and we just never could seem to get around to taking it down. So we just threw a sheet over it and took it off at our 4th of July party. It was pretty cool.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Folks, this meeting has really deteriorated. Anything else to come before council meeting? If not, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor, please
Aye.
signify by saying aye and turning off your computers.
Aye.
Thank you,
Aye.
folks. Good night.
No,
Good night.
See ya.